Greetings everyone, welcome aboard. My name is Joseph James. It's Tuesday morning, January 18th, 2011, guys. Happy Martin Luther King holiday, guys. Hope you guys had a great holiday yesterday. Of course, all the markets closed on Monday morning. We took the day off from our trading on Monday to observe the holiday, guys. And really, guys, I wanted to make sure you guys remember, I think MLK Day, very special holiday. I can think of probably a really long list of ways that Martin Luther King Jr. helped my life personally. And I know many of you guys also probably have had the same experiences. So for just for a moment, guys, I want to wish you guys a happy MLK Day. We had a great holiday yesterday, but we got right back to business this morning, guys. Let's see what happened this morning. Here's your live stream recap. Now, 8:30 this morning, right? What do we see? We had news this morning, 8:30 news, 10 o'clock news, right? And then we had 10:30 E-mini reversal. It was 8:30, it was 10 o'clock news this morning, guys. 8:30 this morning, news came out as expected. So 8:30 news this morning came out as expected. That didn't do much for our volume this morning, right? So it didn't really get us moving here. We had to wait. This morning, our first trade was until 9:15, right? Almost 9:30. So we didn't get much at 8:30. We took our time this morning, though, guys, and we went over crude contract rollover. Now, today was an interesting situation where usually we don't get crude oil rolling forward until about the 25th of the month. Now, if you guys go to our blog right now, if you go to the blog under Trade Room Resources, scroll down to the bottom under Contract Specifications, you'll see a link there for crude oil. That'll give you guys more info about how we trade crude oil on contract rollover. Today was a little bit odd, and we talked about that last week of how we saw the volume shifting from the 211 contract to the 311 contract early, right? This is much earlier than we're used to seeing. And again, we're used to seeing about a week from now, that's when the volume starts shifting. Now, a fundamental analyst will look at that and say, okay, if the crude is having volume moving from the 211 to the 311 ahead of schedule, usually that tells us what? Usually the smart money in the market now knows expect rising prices. So guys, this is where a little bit of experience goes a long way, right? First of all, we don't expect to see rollover for another week. But we begin seeing volume shift from the 211 to the 311 a week early. What does that mean? Well, the further you get out, right? 111, 211, 311, 411, right? The higher you get out, right? In theory, you're looking for rising prices, right? If you're moving your volume from 211 to 311, what's going to happen is, right? People are hedging themselves against rising prices in the future by buying a later expiration month for crude oil. So again, somewhat strange. Well, somewhat different than we're used to seeing. But if you looked at it, you saw it this morning, right? You kind of scratch your head and go, why would people be doing this right now? I know why, because they're scared of rising crude prices. Now, I'm not going to be able to use that really too well for my trading, but it definitely gives us an idea of what's going on out there in the back of the month, right? In the background of crude prices. All right, guys, so a little bit more information came out this morning on crude on contract rollover. And again, remember, guys, go right to the blog, search for crude oil contract rollover, or go to the Trade Room Resources section and click on that link that says crude oil futures contract specifications. Now, what else did we see? The dollar at the lows. Again, right? Dollar going sideways. Again. Okay, so once again, right? No pun intended. Once again, dollar at the lows. We opened up our daily chart. We saw the dollar at the lows. But then we wanted to get some more proof. Remember that, guys, this morning? Guys, if you weren't here for the morning prep this morning, you really missed a lot of important information. Make sure you guys come out for the morning prep. 7:45 till about 8:30, we go through the morning prep. And this morning was a great example of where the daily chart said you're at the lows, but the daily chart's not going to give me very much information about what price action looks like right now. And that's what I need to know about the dollar. I need to know, even though we're at the lows, on the daily chart, we may be on the minute chart, we may be right, rising, falling, we may have some nice patterns. So we zoomed in, we looked at a faster time frame, and we noticed we're going sideways. That gave us the first red flag of the morning, right? Dollar at the exact same spot it was last week, doing the exact same thing it was doing last week. And so, of course, we remember how that ended up last week, so we traded with caution. Now, we actually had a pretty easy day today. I mean, for the most part, the trades really weren't that difficult to see. We got a bunch of them at 9:20. Right? Took 9:20, 10 o'clock, 10:15, 10:30, 10:45. So really, once we had the U.S. market coming out, right, after 9 o'clock, basically, after the pre-market, we started seeing some pretty good patterns. Now, what we saw was on the gold market, and again, this is all done according, right, morning prep. We posted our morning prep on the blog this morning, and then we reviewed all of this for you guys live in real time. So again, if you're missing the morning prep every day, we post it on our blog, and then we're going to review it at 7:45 in real time, so you can see exactly what I'm looking at and why I chose to do certain things. So we saw a wedge pattern on crude. On the gold. Now, a wedge pattern is actually really easy, right? Gold wedge pattern, sell the highs, buy the lows. We sold the highs of the wedge. We took our first two trades, were big winners on gold, both of which were selling short at the highs of the wedge. And guys, we went 2 for 2 on the gold today. We took 38 ticks and 40 ticks, right? Basically 78 ticks on gold before 9:35. We then saw crude oil. What happened on crude this morning? Well, we didn't get much on crude till after 9:30. Had to wait for crude this morning a little bit. And what did we see? We saw another wedge pattern on crude this morning. So both the gold and the crude market both showed wedge patterns. The difference was we sold the highs on gold because we saw speed slow down. Our rules told us look for the short. On the crude though, remember what happened on crude? We looked for a long trade. We looked for a short trade, but then decided, right, let's get long. We bought some pullbacks. All right, it broke new highs, and again, I'm not going to buy at the highs. I'm going to wait for a pullback to buy the pullback. And then, guys, this morning we talked about the dead zone, right? The dead zone. What is the dead zone? The dead zone is that time of the morning where we've got no more news, and we're waiting for the European close. So it's usually somewhere between 10:30 and 11:30. Okay, the dead zone. We call it the dead zone. And below this video right now, you'll see an illustration we drew in the room this morning, so you can kind of see the illustration of how the dead zone works out. But we saw the dead zone come in a little bit early this morning, which gave us some time to finish up our trading. We took all your questions, and we wrapped things up with a great webinar this morning, right, for guests and for members. So we had a great day in the room today. Again, gold and crude. We sold the highs on gold, right? We looked to sell the highs on crude, ended up buying a pullback. And the dollar, right? The dollar made it a little bit challenging, but you'll take a look here with us. Let's see how we did. All right, 2, 4, 6, 7 total trades. Now, 7 total trades, guys. These are my discretionary trades. If you look at the link below this video, you'll see a link for the auto trader results. Right? Click on that link below the video, guys. That will take you to our specific auto trader results, and you can find out how the auto trader did today. We have a fully automated trading system. Now, for my discretionary trades, though, 2, 4, 6, 7 total trades. You can see we had a small loss there on crude, and a little scratch trade there on gold to finish up our day. But for the most part, now I wanted to highlight for you guys here. Look at how many points we get off the final target. So out of 179 ticks we made today, guys, we made 78 of those ticks on the final target. If I need to tell you how important the final target is, guys, you can see it right here, right? That's a great illustration of just how much money we really earn by making sure that we manage our trades properly, right? Place that final target. We get into a trade, find your stop, find your target, and then look for those 3 signs, right? The price reversal, and know when to tighten that stop up, right? We went over all that trade management for you guys in our live trade room last Wednesday in training, right? And if you remember right now, log into the advanced course and look at the trade management video we did last Wednesday. Right, as you can see, guys, 179 ticks. That brings our weekly total here, guys, first day of the week to $1,790. Our monthly total now over $10,000, and as you guys know, I'm always shooting for at least $12,000, $14,000 per month. So obviously, we're right there to that monthly goal. Now, of course, $10,000 looks pretty pathetic compared to $20,000 in December and $45,000 in November. But we had a pretty good day today. We're going to keep working our way through this month of January, right, as best we can. We'll keep you guys posted throughout the day as we keep trading for the month of January. Now, once again, here's my dollar. I begin every day with my dollar. Now, my dollar, why do I begin the day with a dollar? Well, it's because the dollar is that correlated market that affects everything else. If my dollar's moving, I know that crude, gold, euro, Russell, S&P, I know everything else is moving. Right? If the dollar is not moving, like we see right here, I know to be very careful because everything else will probably have a hard time as well. So right off the bat, guys, there's my sideways range. Now, if you're saying to yourself, boy, Joe, this looks really familiar, it's because you're right? We've had this thing looking sideways here for over 2 weeks now. So again, sideways range on the dollar. And what do we notice in the dollar? Well, we know we're at the bottom of the range. But guys, it's tough for me based upon this information here. How do I know exactly what's actually going on right now?